My eyes felt like galaxies holding the swirling glow of countless memories as I took in our childhood home. Its siding looked like remnants of driftwood after a bonfire. I swore I smelled the smoky char of pine creep into my nostrils. It's wild how the past stays with you like that. Jesus, it feels like just yesterday. I placed a trembling hand over my heart, struggling to steady my breath. My brother, Alex, pulled me into a tight embrace, his strength grounding me like an anchor. "The house hasn't changed much," he said, his voice steady and comforting. "But we have." His certainty made me question, have I really changed? Between the two of us, Alex was as solid and stoic as a mountain range. Good thing, because I was like the wind, flighty and unpredictable. Over the years, Alex had learned to handle even my harshest hurricanes. Being his older sister, even if only by 4 minutes, I always wished I'd been his protector rather than the other way around. But that demon burning deep in my belly also flashed a crooked smile, knowing that Alex would never abandon me, especially since I got sober. I hadn't had a drink in exactly 730 days, and although it remained unsaid, I knew Alex was terrified of leaving me to my own devices in fear I would relapse. Our sibling bond was ironclad. After we lost our parents in the fire, my mother didn't properly butt out her 2 cigarette and, well, the rest is history. All Alex and I had was each other. But let's call a spade a spade. We were also as fucked up and as co-dependent as it gets. Who mutually decides to visit the catalyst of your alcohol addiction on the anniversary of your sobriety? The house's dilapidated front door creaked as Alex gently pushed it open. The rusted metal hinges were holding it up by a thread. "After you," Alex gestured me in, squinting from the sunlight. He was a gentleman, even in such obscurity. As he held the door open, the shallow scar on his right cheek taunted me like some kind of schoolyard bully. His wound often pulled me in like that. Some days, I was sure I would dive right into it and drown. Other days, that mark became permanently etched on Alex's face on the day I quit drinking, exactly 730 days ago. That was the day Alex screamed bloody murder at me from the passenger seat. "Jenna, stop the fucking car!" But my bloodstream was far too poisoned with Bacardi Lime to listen. All I remember next was my vehicle being wrapped around a tree. I could have died that day, but what truly disturbed me in the middle of the night was the fact that I almost killed Alex. A lot can happen in 730 days, but I assure you, forgiving yourself isn't one of them. "Well, you coming in?" Alex was still holding the door ajar. I shook it off and gave my brother a knowing glance. I swear, even though we were fraternal, we had twin telepathy. I exhaled and walked in. "Watch your step," I warned, my forehead tense. I imagined the rickety floorboards collapsing, crashing us into what had once been our dad's man cave. That's where he was passed out, the night of the fire. "Kids, stay here. Do not move," our mother demanded after getting us out of the house safely. I remember the black soot on her face and the spiderweb veins in her eyes. She shook us firmly by the forearms. "I'm getting your father?" Alex and I held each other, shaking. The heat from the inferno felt like standing in a volcano. We never saw our parents again. 2 decades later, there we were, Alex and I, making our way through the wreckage of our home. It was midday, yet the inside of the house screamed a tone of pale blue midnight. My shoulders were up to my ears, as though we were walking through a haunted house attraction. I coughed into my forearm. The ocean of dust was thick like butter. As I cleared my lungs, Alex called out from behind me, "Hey, Jenna, look at this." The fireplace. Alex's voice was filled with awe. Unbelievable, it's still here, I whispered, a lump forming in my throat. It was as though a fairy godmother breezed by and brought the decaying living room to life with her magical paintbrush. Kind of like in Titanic, when they showed the sunken ship underwater, versus in its prestige as it sailed across the Atlantic. We made our way over to the fireplace and sat cross-legged on the floor. This was our favorite spot, remember? I avoided his gaze, overwhelmed by the flood of memories. Yeah, Alex murmured, his eyes softening with nostalgia. For a moment, the taste of crispy, fire-roasted marshmallows superseded the saturated stench of mildew. Remember our s'mores nights? I asked. Duh. What about all our fireplace movie nights? Alex proceeded to do his best, nasally, childhood impersonation of me. But Mom, I want to watch Beauty and the Beast. Alex always gets to pick the movie. I punched him in the arm. First of all, I never sounded like that. And second, so what? I knew what I wanted. The corners of Alex's mouth lifted. He had such a sincere sparkle about him, as though a storm cloud of confetti followed him overhead wherever he went. You really did, kiddo. My chest went heavy. How could Alex love me after everything I had done, after all the relationships I'd ruined, all the jobs I'd lost, all of his relationships I'd ruined? How could he still choose me when so often I had chosen a 40 of Jack Daniels over him? How could Alex still love me after I almost fucking killed him? Alex's gaze widened. Hey, remember when Mom would bring out those hot drinks she always made? He paused, almost as if he was searching for the right term. Apple. Something. Apple shh. I snapped my fingers. Apple schnapple. Yes. I mean, looking back, it was basically just hot apple cider, but damn, it was good. And it really was. Our laughs echoed throughout the abandoned asylum we once called home. Alex leaned back, holding himself up with his hands. I loved our fireplace hangs, especially our movie nights down here. But nothing beats our movies up in the projector room. I tilted my head. We never had a projector room. Alex playfully shooed me away. No, Alex, I would remember us having a projector room. Our movie nights together were our favorite thing. You even just said it yourself. The house suddenly became pin-drop silent as Alex leaned in. Memories are quite something, aren't they? The slight shift in his tone made my skin crawl. Alex was always wistful, but this felt different, almost clinical. We often remember things in ways that are easier for us to digest. I was fidgety. Geez, Alex, you sound like Dr. Geller. He seemed to enjoy my little joke. Dr. Geller had been my therapist since the accident, and I would go out on a limb and say that he would not have approved of this self-inflicted exposure therapy I was subjecting myself to by visiting the house. Alex seemingly snapped out of his little therapist moment and went right back to being his sparkly confetti self. As I watched his amicable face scan the mantel above the fireplace, I felt a sickening uneasiness. Imagine you had actually fucking killed him. Man, I can still picture all our family photos up there. Alex's childlike wonder destroyed me. My face went flush. I could feel the water rising in my eyes like the tides. How pathetic and infuriating was it that after everything I'd done, I was still somehow the e-victim. Hey, he took my hand. Oh, Alex. I threw myself into him. I'm so sorry. My brother held me with his usual care that I didn't deserve. Jenna, it's okay. I'm still here. We're both still here. As my chin rested on my brother's shoulder, I looked ahead of me at the remains of the house. Something felt off, and it wasn't just the overall unsettling environment. My brow furrowed. Wasn't the doorway to the kitchen on the other side of the living room? I felt Alex shrug. I don't think so. I was staring into the out-of-place doorway like I was trying to pull a recollection towards me. And that's when I saw them in the kitchen. The translucent memory of Mom and Dad. Mom was getting our apple schnapples ready. She was pacing, unlike Dad, who was sitting motionless at the table. His face was planted on its mahogany surface. His glass of apple schnapple was empty, and so was the Mom floated into the living room, our warm beverages in hand and a cigarette in her mouth. Kids, your father's not feeling well. Let's have our apple schnapple. Oh my God, the bruise on her face. Alex jarred me back to reality with the gut punch of what he had to say next. You're remembering the truth about Mom and Dad, aren't you?